It's Pigeon and the Gilmore Girls. Okay, here we go. Let's see. Pigeon Forge. Let's see. Grandpa Kirk. Well, there is a chemical and German warfare with psychological warfare. And got out of hand. So they made a movie called Men in Black. It must have been swamp gas. So, they said is you need a new Great White Hope. You know, they got great whites and jaws. So, they said, must be only intelligent American. It's more intelligence than intelligence, you know, how to build stuff. You gotta have a proper psychological etiquette, PE. So, skip PE class because didn't need the physical education or the psychological education. I was already fit and already had plenty of psychological education. So, I said to him once, I said, you could drop me off in the middle of the shitstorm and I'll provide some solutions. So that's what they did. They dropped me off in the middle of a shitstorm so I could provide them some solutions. So I said, customers. But that's your healthcare provider, not your customer. So he said, customer. Frankenstein's and myrrh. No, it's your healthcare provider to get you thinking properly. So, they call it piercing the veil. There's no record of that court case. Hasn't been done in over 200 years. So, 200 years, the Hunter Biden. 200 years. Well, Attila the Hun, they did Night at the Museum, so we could show these things coming to life. And so you've got Attila the Hun to Hun dread the ears. See? So Dr. Dre the ears. So, we don't need to Dr. Dre the ears. We need to un-Dr. Dre the ears. We used to have music called hip-hop. Hip-hop music was like folk songs with music. It wasn't that rap music. Speaking 10,000 miles a minute. Like I always said. I said, I don't really like that rap music. Can't understand what they're saying. Because the devil's quick with their tongue. So if you're listening to rap music that's going 10,000 miles a minute, that's probably what's wrong with you. And then what's the other thing? Oh, Bones, Thugs, and Harmony. Well, Bones, Thugs, and Harmony. We're trying to unbrainwash people and say, look, it's a big joke, ha, everybody laugh. And everybody goes, shit, everybody was brainwashed. Okay, let's start over then. It wasn't so that some people could try to capitalize on making murder cult movies and shit. So, they wanted a healthcare provider. So they took Mr. Kirk, me, from my good home, with my good parents, with my good upbringing, with my high IQ, and put me through all kinds of shit. So when I woke up, I could be like, hey, that's how we decipher all this shit and start over and be good people. Call ourselves Americans. Miracle nation, providing solutions, miracles, and truth, and better ways of living for the entire planet. That's why they call America the land of the free, home of the brave, because we were brave enough to do something. It's a great experiment to provide solutions for the rest of the world to live in peace and harmony, and create new technologies and jobs and economies. You said you wanted a leader. So I had the Prince song. It said, You wanted a leader to make up your mind. So it wasn't for putting on makeup and making up a bunch of bullshit stories to brainwash people. It was putting on makeup to make some stories, free people, and make a new nation of nations. To be one nation, to be a freedom light to the entire world. And that's why the entire world loved Americans. And Americans are friends with China because they provide a lot of technology and techniques from that old Chinese wisdom, like your fortune teller cookies and stuff. So when I was a kid in the land of the Department of Defense in the Commonwealth state of Virginia, I went to school and we started a time capsule project with a bunch of the kids. They were looking for the smart kid. I must have been the smartest kid in class. So, I don't know how else to tell you, but I did all that work trying to get everybody to work together, and fighting tooth and nail to protect kids and stuff, and brainwashing bullshit. And it says, well, workman is worth his wage. Those Fortune 500 companies make a bunch of money trying to provide solutions for everybody so they can get along and have jobs and create better worlds. And here's Mr. Kirk trying to be the ambassador or the interpreter, the translator. And there's a Christian Slater movie. The skateboard key is the hex key, or the Pentagon, hexagon keys. That's why I had a phone number for domestic anti-terrorist forces, meaning civilians trying to stop brainwashed civilians from killing each other and doing a bunch of dumb shit. So they pay all those soldiers and everybody else, and law enforcement, and all that other stuff, and they didn't really ask for much. Just wanted a boat. I says, hey, what takes precedence? Well, nothing takes precedence. I'll tell you what takes precedence. Precedence is the fortitude or the courage to do what's right. We call those American presidents. The good families and the good people. We call that a nation of kings. That's what the Bible was talking about. A nation of kings. A nation of leaders. Leaders that would stand up and do the right thing. I don't know. It's so hard for a lot of people to understand that. Because playing lotteries and bullshit gambling games, and it's all well and fun, cards and casinos and stuff like that. But when you're doing fishing schemes and crazy schemes, well, that's the I like to call the fallout. It's a fallout from a war from a long time ago. Trying to create a medical system to help bring people back from all that shit and fix them. Proper thinking and psychology. Instead, a few people thought they wanted to play pinball and Mr. Kirk just bounce around the U.S. So, well, Mr. Kirk would drive around the U.S. and help people. That's all well and great. But at least you should have a bank account or something with funds. They say, go fund yourself. Well, I'll go find myself. The problem was, Mr. Kirk didn't need to find himself. He was trying to help a lot of people find themselves. He wanted profound wisdom. Well, stood in the courthouse and Mr. Del Garland said, that's pretty profound. You're so cryptic. I was like, well, I'm a pretty profound person. I liked my private life. Nobody wanted me to be private, so there you go. Just throw all that information out everywhere. Call that white hat TV. It's that white hat hacker. call that problem solvers, or angels among us. Then we had the gray hats, we had the black hats. The problem is we didn't want the black hats, and we didn't want to kill all the black hats. So we had white hats and gray hats. So it would be a buffer, or build a wall in between to try and fish some of those bad people out of the shit they were in, try to put them into a good life. It wasn't so the black hats could play games with me. It was so the black hats could learn how to live better.